Night Dreams Scary Story Night on Friday nights. Call in at 9:30 p.m. Pacific at 1-253-203-6695.
Well, here I am, and hey, what can I say? Well, summer, I think we got our last day here at the compound. It's 72 degrees, blue skies, and tomorrow it's going to be cloudy, and then the rain comes in. And the reason why I'm talking about this tonight, people, is, well, you know the Trump administration has virtually cut all the funding for the EPA, right? He wants to, create cold, electrical burning plants, to create electricity, create jobs. But look at the pollution and all this other stuff he's doing. It's crazy. He's eliminating all this stuff they set up to, control emissions in this country. And he's kind of scrapped them all. But now today, his administration has said, well, they expect major global warming by the year 2100. Well, you know what? I think his administration and Mr. Trump should go on the East Coast, like the Carolinas, and look what's going on. They should maybe even take a flight over Antarctica and see what's going on, and maybe go to the UK and some of these other countries and see what's happening. Because in the UK, they're expecting about 4 months of snow this year. This winter, 4 months of snow where it's not going to go away. Now, that tells you something is going on, and it's not going to all happen by the year 2100. If they're saying it's going to happen by 2100, they're smoking something. And I tell you, it isn't tobacco, because global warming is going on now. And you know what? Some parts of the world is going to get hot. And then some parts of this country, or world, I should say, is going to go, well, into a minor ice age or worse. Just think what happens here when all this ice keeps melting from Antarctica. Okay, hey, shipping companies love it because now they don't have to go around the Cape. They can just go through Antarctica and save a lot of money. Hey, the Navy's got to figure out a new system, well, for navigating their ships. It's going to be a lot more ocean. Well, where's that water going to go? It's going to go on, well, don't buy property in Florida. And a lot of other places, I'll tell you that. And all it's going to take is all this water to, keep cooling down the cycle from the equator where, it kind of goes through the Atlantic Ocean, and then it keeps, the UK and Europe from going into a deep freeze. Back in the 1900s, Russia, people were in their homes, burning their floorboards, burning their doors, burning anything it could burn, and a lot of them still froze to death. Anyway, our guest tonight is going to be Ronald Farham. I'm glad to say he's a friend of mine, and I think you need to listen to what he has to say. And I think we're going to be talking about the New World Order and all the things that's going to really concern you right after this.
You're listening to my friend Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, the best in paranormal radio.
Please check out the Night Dreams Talk Radio website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. Also, if you want to keep our show free of advertising, just hit the donate button. Give $1 or $2. Remember, all prior shows are always free to listen to. We at Night Dreams Talk Radio thank you for your support.
Hey, and don't forget, at 9:30 for the last half an hour, you can call in at 1-253-203-6695. That's 1-253-203-6695. I want to hear some scary stories. No, not about the politicians in the White House or in Washington, D.C. I'm talking about like monsters, UFOs, creatures, and not your ex-wife. Hey, Ronald, how you doing tonight, my friend?
Gary, good to hear you again. I'm so glad to talk to you. I love your show. I love that opening that you were talking about Antarctica. That is like one of the most mysterious places in the world right now, especially in the esoteric world where, that community of people, the awakened ones, I think, who are all around the planet starting to pay attention to Antarctica. So it's interesting that you brought that up.
Well, you know what? I am so frustrated that this administration has done everything they could to scrap anything for emissions, to, all this stuff it took all these years and all these presidents to do, to, try to slow down what's going to happen anyway. And he's just kind of like, oh, we don't need this, we don't need that, we don't need the EPA, we don't need this, we don't need that. He even relaxed some things last week again. It's crazy. And then they have the balls, I hate to say it, to say, hey, we're going to go into a major where it could be a real life-threatening situation by the year 2100. Well, they need to really take a look, Ronald, and it's not going to be by 2100. It's going to be a lot sooner. And all these people that called Al Gore a crackpot, you know what? Maybe he was ahead of time by telling people 20 years ago what was going to happen. And then, people figured 20 years ago, he's saying this is going to happen right away. No, it wasn't going to. He saw the future, and now the future is here.
Yeah. I'll tell you, there are definitely major Earth changes going on that are going to affect. It seems to be that they're going to affect some major population centers. I totally agree with you. With the North Pole is melting, the Antarctic continent is melting. Weather patterns are weird. In fact, it was funny. Someone mentioned to me today about the hurricane that just hit the East Coast and how it shot down from a Category 4 all the way kind of to a tropical storm. It was almost like someone was saying that it might have been HARP, or a directed energy weapon, where some of these governments, or all of them working together, might be manipulating the weather, but I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions, and that's one of the things that everybody has the questions about, is all of the answers to our questions are being held behind closed doors, locked away, and we're told it's a national security. Sorry, we can't really divulge all of this important information to all you citizens, they call us. And it's kind of disturbing, because I think we have a right to know what is really going on and what the truth is. It's hard to believe. Who do you believe anymore? Our presidents have all been found to be liars and cheats, and our politicians are all following some party line. I mean, where can we get the trustworthy information? It's like a hopeless situation for knowing the truth.
Well, do they really think that we're that stupid? I mean, how stupid do you have to realize that things are going on, and it's going on at a real fast pace now? I mean, Antarctica and all the methane gas, there's a major lake in Antarctica that is producing so much methane gas. They were saying, blame it on the cows, right? For all this. Yeah. Well, you know what? This one lake is producing more methane gas than every cow in this world.
I heard that lake was under ice for a long time, and as the caps have been melting, this methane lake has been releasing now from like the bottom of the ocean or below the ice, and now it's starting to really affect our atmosphere. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. And now I actually seen a video of it, burping. And I mean, the whole thing, it looks like, it's just like burping steady and with big burps of methane gas. I mean, if somebody went there with a cigarette and lit it, they'd probably blow up half the lake.
Well, a long time ago, probably 20 years ago, people started selling that long-term food, survival food, because everybody's pretty much predicting that we're headed for some kind of major catastrophe. And now the thing to do is be prepared. I'm in Florida right now, and like you were saying in the beginning, goodbye Florida, and Florida's getting messed up several different ways. There's a radioactive and red tide on the east coast of Florida right now that people are getting sick from actively. Like, this is a news story. And then the dead center of Florida, from the Lake Okeechobee, straight down through the Everglades, is being intentionally poisoned by Big Sugar, a company right there near Lake Okeechobee that's dumping all kinds of waste and diverting fresh water from the lake into the Everglades. And the Everglades, which is in protected government land and has endangered species in it, is being destroyed as we speak. And from my understanding, it's about real estate development. But now also with the shores rising, I've been watching construction dune work on the beaches here on the East Coast because the coastline is starting to wash away, and I think that's because the tides are, the water levels are rising, and we're losing about, I'd say, since I've been here in the last year, it looks like it's gone back 15 or 20 feet, and I saw them out there with cranes when I went to the beach a couple of months ago, and they're bringing in fill sand and putting out barrier rocks, and they're trying to build up a sandbar to keep the whole beach from getting washed away, and there's condominiums and homes, so I think it might be happening like we're in the middle of something.
Well, I still think it's going to be before 2100. I mean, at this rate is going. I mean,
we're in the middle of it, like it's happening right now. I mean, look at what's happening with the weather and everything, and it's happening. The methane's going up, so it's not. It's now actually 2100. I think they're just trying to keep people from panicking, but we're like right in the middle of it. It's like everything's starting to kind of, the house of cards of this weather scenario on our planet, I think, is starting to tumble. And we're right in the middle of it.
Well, it's not just the East Coast. It's on the West Coast. Like San Francisco will eventually be underwater, a bulk of it. And it's not going to be as long as they say it is. And at this rate, the way Antarctica and Greenland and all that stuff is thawing out and all that water dumping in, it's going to raise naturally the sea level drastically. It's going to cool the water down. And when that happens, it's been since 1966 that the UK has had any major snowstorms that would last for any period of time. Well, they're saying now in the news in the UK is that they're looking at a snowstorm. It's going to come in, and it's not going to even thaw out for at least 4 months or more.
I think you say that, 4 months, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be like some type of an ice age almost.
Yeah, that's scary right there. And what's going to be like next year and the year after that? Certain parts of this world, in parts of even our own country, are going to get really hot where you can't live in it. Then it's going to be other areas that's going to be really cold. The last ice age, Seattle was under 10,000 feet of ice. Okay?
Jeez.
But you know what? You traveled like 30, 40 miles away from where Seattle's at, and the temperature was back around 50, 60 degrees, livable. So, I mean, it's going to be hit and miss where all this stuff happens. And no one's, maybe that's why we're trying to stay friends with Mexico, huh?
Yeah, geez, it's just one big landmass. I really distaste the use of borders, like even that word. This is like, I was born on the planet Earth, and I'm sick of some company telling me that there's this line here that nobody can really see that divides these people from these people and this land from that land. It's a big mind control joke. I love Mexico. I love the terrain. I've been down to Mexico. I love every place I've been. It's like, all the same dirt and sky and sun and moon. I don't know where they thought that they could just divide us as people and start laying down these imaginary lines. I'm friends with, Canada too. I mean, it depends on where the best place is to go when the weather hits, We're all just human beings here, and they're treating us like beasts, converting us to their citizens, and then being non-citizens from other places like Mexico illegal aliens. It's just made up, invented, divide and conquer technique, and I'm like done buying into that. I just can't, get how people aren't awakened enough yet to realize that there's no borders. They're fictional. They're made up by a corporation that's posing as a government.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, one thing I will say this, Ronald, is, think about this, right? They want to build this fence, right, to keep, the people from crossing in from Mexico into our country, right? Well, maybe it could be the opposite. Maybe they're trying to keep people from running away from our country into Mexico when it hits the fan, like maybe in another 20, 30 years from now, when all of a sudden part of our country is nothing more than a big giant ice cube. I don't know.
Well, just look at the barbed wire, and if it's curved in